Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time this podcast finds you, welcome to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast. Super famous guest today, Robert Simon from the Bob Simon Law Firm. And he's got a lot of things going on. So we're going to learn a lot of stuff today. I just want to take 2 minutes to tell you all about TGR Live. We've got some great new speakers announced. This is our live event that we host. It's called Business Strategies, Growth Strategies for Law Firms, March 10th and 11th, 2025 in beautiful Delray Beach, Florida. If you don't know Delray, it's right in between West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale, just adjacent to our head office here in Boca Raton, Florida. So it'll be beautiful. It's right on the beach at the Opal Grand Hotel. We've got some amazing speakers. Mike Morse from the famous Detroit law firm is confirmed, and he's also going to speak on our EOS panel. And Mike was one of the first guys featured in the book Traction and one of the most famous EOS case studies practitioners. We just confirmed Charlie Mann is going to do his $500,000 referral playbook. Jeff Hampton is an attorney with 16 million YouTube views. Ben Glass is going to be there. So super excited. We're nailing down the entire agenda. And oh, by the way, if you wanted to speak on the agenda, it's kind of full. So don't bug me. Anyways, amazing, Bob, to have you here today. Welcome to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast.
Thank you for having me, brother. I'm on the other coast, though. I'm on the left coast, as they say.
You got planes. You can come on out. We'd love to have you. Anyways, so I guess let's start with the firm and you know, how you got started and built the firm up, and then we'll talk about some of your amazing additional products.
Yeah, I mean, so I live in Manhattan Beach, California, Los Angeles. Started a firm with just me, 2009, and then added my brother, 2010, to form the Simon Law Group, otherwise known as the Justice Team. We rebranded that, so it's a marketing play, which we could probably talk about why we did those things. We now have 27 lawyers, several locations, California, Arizona, Texas. Also founded a company called Justice HQ, which is a membership community of high-level lawyers. You have to apply to get in. A lot of interesting things going on there. We started in 2020, and then we started our case marketplace, which always been a big vision of mine. Attorney Share, founded that, launched it, came on a closed beta just May of 2024. I think now we already have over 2,000. We have over 2,000 lawyers that are on Attorney Share already, and you know it's been kind of having a meteoric rise. So I'm just very happy to now be in this position to help people on a massive scale.
I love it, and I want to drill down on all of those. And you didn't mention Law-Di-Gras. So tell us about, and there was a huge amount of buzz this year for Law-Di-Gras. It conflicted with my personal mastermind, our agency mastermind, so I couldn't be there. But you know, tell us about Law-Di-Gras.
Yeah, we put on an annual conference called Law-Di-Gras. I also have a media network called the Justice Team Network, which has a few shows on it, including one of mine, Bourbon Approved. But a lot of stuff going on, as you said. Law-Di-Gras, it's a community-driven conference. We wanted to make it more about networking, personal growth, medical legal education, and then with really good technologists there, and then really fun entertainment, music festival style at night. So this past year we had musical guests were En Vogue, CeeLo Green, Nick Carter at the Backstreet Boys. The year before that we had Ice Cube and Flo Rida. The year before that we had Snoop Dogg and Rev Run. The year before that we've had Nelly.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's just we make it fun for folks and encourage everybody, make it easy to contact everybody. This year we did almost all workshops. You know, it was one track was media marketing, one was business operations, one was personal wealth or personal health and development, one was AI technology, one was trial skills. So we had people that I think who were the best teachers around that just offered to be instructors and work with people individually on their issues. I thought that was great. You know, I always wanted to I like the small group stuff rather than people talking down to you. And we started that conference years ago because I was always frustrated. I'm on leadership of all these trial lawyer groups. And every year we're hearing from the same people about the same topics, always in a stale conference room. I was like, man, we got to shake this up because there's a lot of young lawyers out there and technologists and vendors that know what they're talking about. So you know what? let's give them the opportunity and make it fun. And that's how we started it.
And you call it Law-Di-Gras. I was assumed it was in New Orleans, but it was in South California.
It was
But
SoCal, but we originally had it right around Mardi Gras. We literally originally called it La Cella, and I got an immediate cease and desist from AEG, who owns or Coachella. Yeah.
cool. All right. Well, so let's spend a minute more on the law firm. Who's a great referral for you? What kind of cases do you all help with? And you've won a bunch of awards, Trial Lawyer of the Year. Congratulations. So obviously you guys are good referral, but what kind of cases are you looking for?
Yeah, we're almost all referral based on the lawyers giving us, looks at their cases to help. We try a lot of disc injury cases. I've actually Trial Guides is publishing a book that I wrote end of this year on trying disc injury cases, and kind of the methodology that we've used to get 7 and 8 figure results on like repetitive nature. And these are just run-of-the-mill car crash cases, moderate to light impact, all the similar defenses. We do a lot of those. We have an entire team that does all product liability and like weird cases. I've tried a bunch of those. I love those type of, get in the weeds, figure stuff out, cases. A lot of wrongful death cases, ride share stuff, but all personal injury. We might take a one-off here and there on something else, an occasional sex abuse case, but that's our bread and butter. We're privileged enough to be in the courtroom all the time. We have one trial currently going on in Texas, and every week we're answering ready for a new one. So we have a really good team of trial lawyers and litigation lawyers to kind of team up to get the ball across the end zone.
And how did you get into other states? Like, you write the bar in one state. How did that evolve?
So it evolved. We first opened up in Texas outside of California. One of my partners, Evan Garcia, is from Texas, from Houston, was spending a large amount of time there, and between California, he's on the trial team. We started to get a lot of cases in Texas, and started to get a lot of referrals there. So it started to make sense for us to open up an office there.
So
I'm licensed there, a few other lawyers. So it's like we had a bucket of business, and it works. I mean, other lawyers are looking to us to reset the bar on like these cases that we like trying. Then in Arizona, we had a really good opportunity. One of my partners, Travis Davis, moved out there full time. I had tried a few cases out there on Pro Hawk. I'm not licensed there yet, but hopefully I will be soon. And we started having good success. So when we opened that office, I mean, almost just a year ago, we have like a crazy amount of files and referrals already because, again, our mission is to litigate and try a lot of these. So, and I think Arizona is very ripe to have a powder keg of really good verdicts. And I think we're already starting to see it. And there are some fantastic trial lawyers there already. So that's kind of what we're bringing also is like Justice HQ there as well, where we have a really good group of Arizona lawyers that are now collaborating, working together, even though they have their separate firms, making sure everybody's set up for massive success so that we can all be in sync when we're trying all these cases. Yeah, so we're really proud about that. And I don't know if we'll be in another state, but I'd like to get back to my hometown in Pittsburgh and get in Pennsylvania, but we shall see.
I love it. Hit that. So you touched on Justice HQ. You called it a membership community. How does it work? What's the benefits? And
Yeah, so like I always wanted to create something that if it was around when I started my practice, it'd be a no-brainer. It's a community-based technology platform, which if you're a member, it's a few $100 monthly pay. I wanted to create something where you get your masterminds without paying thousands of dollars and have the best lawyers across the country involved in it. You can create your own adventure within it. So we have big Slack communities in there so people can go in and talk and do things that way. We have a media platform. We have on-demand education for people that are creating their own content. We do a lot of workshops. We have a new software coming out January 1 where people can, you can build your own community. So if I'm going to do a lot of disc injury workshops, a lot of, guerrilla tactics, marketing and media, a lot of stuff that I do, and teach everybody that. But you have a lot of lawyers in an organization that are great at the business of law. Like you mentioned, the fireproof team, EOS, like there's some of our members that do that. They love teaching all these other new firms those types of skills. So they'll have their own platform within it. You have the ability to set up your own events. And then we have a bunch of vendor partners that come in that can then raise their hand to say, I want to sponsor, I want to be part of this. So it just makes it really easy for lawyers to concentrate on what they want to do and to kind of build their following. We help with branding, getting speaking opportunities, and it's all about creating that culture and community. And everybody has to apply to get in. We have a not only good lawyer but good human policy, and we have a healthy. I think we're almost 50% women, which we're very proud of. A lot of women, minority-owned firms. We have a no crooks, no creeps policy because we also have, as part of the membership, you can have access to office space. So we currently have physical locations in Southern California, but on the new community software, we're going to have like an Airbnb for lawyers where other members can offer their office space on the platform. So if I'm in
Well,
Birmingham,
that's really cool.
New
Yeah.
York, yeah. And again, it helps everybody because we're opening up all our offices to it. I know a lot of other lawyers as well, because for me, it's great when the lawyers are in there with our lawyers, just talking shop, right? Um, or if you need to really go in there, take a deposition or meet a client, it allows lawyers that don't have all the capital that other big firms have to literally set up shop wherever that they like, and then to be in that atmosphere of collaboration. Because when I started my practice, it was like me, I hired my little brother was my first hire, and he just got out of college, and we were just sharing a small office with a copier. We had no resources outside of that. Like, we had a listserv you could ping, but problem with listservs is there might be some idiot has no idea what they're talking about that responds to you, right? Yeah, and I love the human
I love
interaction.
it. And the firm's really a family affair. So you talked about your little brother, your twin brother, and your parents are involved. Tell us a little bit about how all that went down and how it operates.
Yeah, so I always like to do the customer facing stuff. I call it trying the cases, doing business development. My twin brother loves doing management and operations. He's now the managing partner of a large firm. My little brother, Brandon, 7 years younger than us, he manages one of the litigation teams, has a big team underneath him.
Right.
Um, my dad, who's an ex-truck driver, 37 years of safe driving with UPS, as he will tell us all, works there. My mom works there. They're in different offices, even though everybody's remote, because they have been divorced since then. Oh, not before they started working there, let's say in the early 20 teens. But my dad's new wife works there. Her daughter works there. There's probably some other family members I'm not thinking of, but then on
God
the
bless. God bless. I don't know how you do.
oh, then on the community tech
Yeah.
companies, Just HQ and Attorney Share, both my sisters are there, and one of my brother-in-laws.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Give me the best part of it and the worst part of it.
I mean, the best part of it is running with family that you have complete trust in, and
Yeah.
then being able to be absolutely real with them. If you're a tight family, you can fight one day, be good the next, um, and keep it real. There's no pulled punches. There's no sensitivity stuff. I mean, I grew up, one of five siblings with one bathroom. I mean, you can imagine how that went, right? So um,
You guys definitely had to learn how to work together
you definitely did, and how
in
to be
small spaces.
super efficient too. I mean, the worst thing about it is it's also family can bleed over to personal stuff. Like if there's a major disagreement on something, that can come to a head. But you like it's either really good or really bad. I hear some horror stories of people being in family business. Ours has been amazing, but I think there's a huge trust factor. I think that's just kind of how we grew up. Like my brother who manages the firm, like I don't even log into the bank accounts. I have no idea. He just tells me when to take money or what's going on or what I need to
Yeah.
do. And I love it. But I trust him. I mean, he could be embezzling millions. I have no idea. If you're listening,
Yeah. No, it's trust. I love it. And so, we're recording this a few days before Thanksgiving. It'll come out after Thanksgiving, but how's Thanksgiving looking? Is everyone getting along this week?
yeah. So we I'll go to one of my brother's houses. Everybody gets together and we do the normal, eat
Watch
a
football.
lot of food, fall asleep in the middle of one of the football games because you ate so
Yeah.
much food. We always have this one thing, we make a cheese ball every year and everybody brings their own. And yeah, a lot of lactose going on in that house. No, but it's
Nice.
fun. I love Thanksgiving because it's like it really slows down. There's no Thursday, Friday. It's always a Thursday. Friday's going to be slow. Kids are all out of school. I got three little girls, 7, 4, 2. It's fun
Nice.
for them to be with their cousins. They're already talking about having sleepovers with their cousins and playing Minecraft and stuff
Oh,
like
great.
that. But it's nice.
And
Like,
who's your team?
well, my team,
NFL team, yeah.
Dude, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh yeah, of course,
I grew
that's
up in
right.
Pittsburgh. I mean, I can show you all the ink to prove it. Like I got some old Steelers logos on here right there.
Nice, nice.
Um,
I read a
yeah,
book about Rocky Blyer. Amazing
yeah,
story, right? Went to Vietnam, lost part of his foot. The Steelers kept him on payroll for a year till he recovered, and then he became part of their Super Bowls, right? So I
yeah.
was a big Steelers fan as a kid. I grew up in Canada, but the
Oh,
Steelers were
nice.
one of my teams. I enjoyed having a few teams.
Yeah, we had a disappointing loss last night, if depending what year when this airs. But the Steelers have to start off red hot and
Yeah, they've been great.
always in it. Always in it.
Yeah, it's 2024 if anyone's listening sometime in the future. So,
Yeah,
um,
hopefully when you're listening, it'll be the Pittsburgh Steelers world champions of the Super Bowl, February
again,
2025.
yeah. I think we covered, attorney share. So that's sort of associated with Justice HQ, but it's a different product.
Yeah, there's sister orgs. I mean, we founded them both, and I'm chairman of both of those companies. It is a true marketplace for lawyers, and we wanted to create something where both lawyers, whether you're referring a case in or co-counseling or picking up a case that everybody wins, because the mission critical is to find the lawyer the best case, or yeah, for them. So like the client calls you, if it's not your specialty, you can easily find the best one across the nation because you can sort by geographic practice areas. It handles all practice areas. We've set up now automations and integrations with all the major case management platforms. So people can now get a lot of intake directly into their system. They can then push the case directly to there from attorney share, fields match, case gets put in. Several lawyers will reach and raise their hand and says, I want to work on it. You get to decide your fee share. Our software will track the deal of it, save your fee share agreement, and make it very organized. And if people already have an existing referral network, we built this because it broke for us before this came along. We were getting sent so many cases from other lawyers from different case management platforms or Dropbox or regular PDFs. And it takes a while to digest that information. And then if you do agree to take the case, then you got to put it somewhere and save it. And then you got to do your fee share agreement. We just want to put that all in one place. And also, why not have multiple people look at the case at the same time to see who you want to be your best referral partner for it. We made it so that you can bring in your own referral networks that you currently work with and automations to give right of first refusal. We call them waterfalls. So people can send like a personal injury case to me in California. If I don't respond or not within enough time or say no, it goes to their number two, their number three, and they can even default to go to the giant public marketplace. So what we've been finding is that like a lot of lawyers that are really good that don't have marketing budgets are picking up a lot of cases. And we don't charge a cut of the fees. It's free to join. It's free to put in cases. It's free to send cases where you know where they're going. We charge just $300 if you pick a case up off the public marketplace. And that's only if you sign it. So if a lawyer says, I want to work with you, you say, okay, you've vetted for a few weeks. You say, well, this isn't viable. It costs you nothing.
Right.
So we try to keep that lead gen down so low for, the specialized lawyers. And make it easy to find, like it's like opening up your Rolodex across the nation of the best. Now that we have 2,000 lawyers on there, I'm impressed. I just go in and like search the state and like, oh my God, we had like 30 lawyers from Illinois and I saw like three big hitters that I know. I was like, man, this is really special.
Really kicking off. Congratulations. And there's case studies on there too.
What's that?
Is there case studies on there or it's just for case,
Now, these are partnering on cases. This is all B2B law firms use it. So, yeah, if somebody calls you with a client or sends it into your case management software, you could push it directly in. Or you could private invite people. People send me a lot of private invite cases for stuff that they know that we're good at. And then we just kind of review it, decide if we're going to work on it. And then in goes our fee share agreement. And now by the end of this year, we'll have the ability to track the status of the case so that both sides kind of have some transparency on what's going on with their referral, or and the same one that got the case can report back on what's going on with it. Another pain point that we always had was just updating co-counsel with everything that's going on. So yeah, it just makes it really easy for lawyers that are really good at marketing to send off the cases that they're overflow or out of jurisdiction stuff, and also track the stuff with their current referral partners. On the other end, it's helped a lot of lawyers start their own firms. Since we've been open, because of like, I've got a handful of cases from attorney share and it's really making a difference in my practice.
Yeah. I know you've coached a lot of young lawyers starting out. Talk a little bit about, your passion for that mentorship and, maybe some tips for the young lawyers in getting started.
Yeah, I mean, just remember, any lawyer that's out there, like, reach out to folks. You can DM them, anybody that you want to aspire to be like, or somebody who thinks a good lawyer or where you want to be. I think you'd be shocked how often people actually get back to you, because everybody's been in that place. We're all here to help. And I think that the plaintiff's bar is a very unique group of lawyers across the nation that are very helpful and willing to mentor. And it works where, like, when I started my practice, I would refer cases to other big law firms and lawyers that I wanted to work with, split the fee. And then I got to experience how they ran cases, try cases with them. And it was the best learning experience ever. And the client got a better result. And now we're the other side of my firm where they always bring us in on those cases, do the exact same thing. And that's mentorship, right? But I think anybody coming out right now, I think it's easier than ever to start your firm. You just have to be very, very conscious of, like, doing it with the intentions that you want. Like, if you start your firm, specialize in something that you want to do. Make it known to folks that that's what you want to do and how to contact you, and put out content, which is free to do with your iPhone, that that's what you love to do. Educate people on it. So we want people to automatically think disc injury, like for me, spine surgery lawyer, call Bob Simon. Like, that's his niche, right? That's what you want to be able to do. If you want to pick, 99-cent store banana slip and fall guy, that's up to you, right? But pick something that you're passionate about, and that you can market yourself pretty relatively free. We develop, products like Attorney Share so people can get their case started off of there, be able to go on that marketplace and grab those types of things. But the rest is about cultivating your network and relationships. So Justice HQ is one, other masterminds are others, local bar orgs are another. You can set up a lot of referral trees just from people you went to law school with, people in your cultural orgs, people that are in these other organizations. But you gotta hustle, you gotta network. Now look, if you got a bucket load of money, it's a different conversation. Like, you can go to a market agency and they can help you build out your SEO, your website, pump in cases, and you could do with whatever you want. But most lawyers I know are not set up that way. So you go as, low cost as you can. You don't need an office, virtual office, work from home. Like, clients don't care. They'd rather see you in their living room than in some fancy conference room. And then just make really good relationships. I like doing national conferences and national relationships, because if I'm the only California guy in the room, guess who's going to get all those referrals?
That's
Same
for
thing
sure.
if you're in other masterminds, if you're the only person doing what you do, or if you're in, like, even a breakfast club and you're the only lawyer there, embrace it.
I'm sure you know Ben Glass from Great Legal Marketing. He was
Yep.
recently on the podcast, and I asked him that question about starting out, and he said, one of the first things I'd do, starting out again, is I'd get a group of lawyers together, and I'd buy the pizza, because we don't have big money for a mastermind, but mastermind. And personally, I've had huge amount of success with my agency mastermind I talked about a minute ago. Talk to me about, the getting started with the sort of micro mastermind, and then maybe talk about some of the bigger masterminds and the benefits you see in lawyers participating.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, are you going to be able to put in the time and effort to whatever you get into? Like, I'm a member of this organization called YPO, Young Presidents Organization. It's a lot of stuff going on, but if you leverage those networks, it's massive. Same thing. We developed Justice HQ, so so people can, for a few $100 can get all of those things and make those relationships. Some of the bigger masterminds, and I've been invited to many of them, I was just never comfortable with asking for or paying thousands of dollars a month for what we routinely give out for free. It's just, yes, you can get something of it if you, but I don't know. That's a struggle for me because, coming up with a bootstrap budget when I started my firm, it's like I didn't have enough money to do that. Now, if you grow into it, look, if you have a seat at the table with all these folks that are just super high level, and that's the only time you can get them in the room, so be it. That has massive power. But local bar orgs, your local plaintiff's bar, you should belong to all of those. You should be active in their networking, active in their listservs. But when you say getting, like, a small group of people together, I mean, that really works. I have a group of folks that we sit down every 30 days together, and just for 3 hours, we shut off the phones and we just talk about what's going on in our lives, what's going on in business, and it's super helpful. Um, But yeah, you got to put yourself in those circles and force yourself in. I mean, who's to say you shouldn't be part of this small group? Like who should say that, right? Just your fear that says you don't think you'd be included.
And by the way, if you haven't been included, create it. And that was part of Ben's message. And, really being at the center of the group is incredibly powerful. Like I recently created a group that we get a bunch of folks together who all do business with law firms. And there's 100 of us now. And we get together just once a month on a Zoom and then at the national conferences. And we're all just referring business to each other and coaching each other on issues. And it really is fantastic. And then my mastermind, like I recently asked, we do a hot seat. So basically we're together for a day. Everybody's on the hot seat for 15 or 20 minutes, and you got to bring a topic and then everybody coaches you on it. And, I've done things around finance and hiring and sales. This time I asked them, how do we make 10 Golden Rules live, TGR Live, our live event? How do we make it super interactive and super fun? And I came up with a couple great ideas. So, and I'll be tapping you too. It sounds like Law-Di-Gras got that figured out. And maybe I'll also have to explain how I book Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I book
He
Snoop.
DJ'd at a conference in New York, and it was the best DJ I've ever seen.
Yeah, I in Law-Di-Gras, we had him. I knew his manager, so we were able to make something happen. But I ended up getting stuck on stage behind him. Had the biggest second-hand high that I've ever had. The pictures are very funny. His security wouldn't let me down. I'm like, this is my event. No, but like this year at Law-Di-Gras 2025, the vision this year is to have other people, because we're big on communities, having other people bring their communities into Law-Di-Gras. So what you just said is a perfect example. Is I'd love to have other people bring all of their masterminds to Law-Di-Gras, and either you have a closed session, invite other people in, so that you have that opportunity to then have massive networking together. So all the masterminds outside networking, and then have the music festival afterwards.
Do it the day of or the day before.
Exactly. I want to do it within the whole conference, because like, how often, like you just said, you do your meetings adjacent to these national conferences, but people have conference burnout. There's like all these things going on. Look, you go to a million conferences. Like, I'd like to be the one where it's like the annual retreat for every mastermind or high level group. So that's the vision for 2025. Let's see if we can pull it together.
That's fun. I love it. Tell us a little bit about the Bourbon Approved Talk Show, your podcast. How did that get started, and what do you try and do on the show?
Yeah, so I started doing podcasts like early 2010s with the Justice Team podcast, just giving out free like legal education.
Great.
And like we just did it for fun to start, and then it started catching a lot of attention. A lot of law students listening to it, early lawyers. We're getting a lot of cases from it. The ROI is huge, and people don't realize if you get a couple of cases a month from just you being an educator in the space or being seen, it's massive. So whenever COVID hit, we had a little bit of slowdown. I wasn't trying as many cases. We launched Justice HQ that year, and then my marketing director at the time, she was like, I mean, I love bourbon, but my dad, brothers, we drink it all the time, whiskey. And she's like, you should just do a show about it, but do it like that Hot Ones episodes where you just drink more and more and get drunker and ask questions. Like, this sounds like right up my alley. So we decided to do it like highly produced. We started, shooting like 4 or 5 episodes, real producer, high level cameras, sound, great editing, high level, production. And then people started lining up to want to be guests on the show. Like it's crazy how many people want to get on. So it started being like a mini networking thing for me. So people that I wanted to be in the room with, I would just say, hey, do you want to be on the show? And then I'd hear their story, be inspired by them, share bourbon with them. And some of my best friends I met on the show that day that I stay in contact with.
That's great.
We did, right after COVID had ended, we did a Bourbon Approved Tour, because this show caught a lot of attention, where we just took 200 lawyers out on the trail in Kentucky, 10 different shuttles, 10 different like MCLEs going on, 10 different topics, and everybody went to their different distilleries, ended up at Buffalo Trace at the end. But it's a perfect example. Do something that you like to do, that you're passionate about. And it's also like part of my brand now. People send me whiskey like every other day. I had to make a whiskey room for it, but it's fun. Like, and I do a lot of business with lawyers because of this bourbon connection.
Have you met my friend Andre Regard?
I know who he is very well, and I know the line
Attorney in
he owns.
Kentucky, and he's got a bourbon. Yeah.
No, but and then what I do with it, I mean, I tell people all the time is, we put it everywhere, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all those other things. But then I have people that just cut these up into shorts all day. and they put them everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, tag all the people. And then I retarget everybody. So I'm specifically targeting groups of lawyers because that's who I want to help. So I always see people at conferences like, oh my God, Bob Simon, I love your stuff. I see all of it. I was like, that's intentional, bro. Um, but it works, man. Like
Great job.
that was one of the best things our marketing director told me to do. And it really, we consciously have to sit down like mid-December. I'm going to film like 8 episodes in 2 days. We do them in clusters. So it's a lot of drinking and I don't cheat it. So,
Yeah, that 8 episodes and lots of bourbon shots. That cumes up. I didn't get the email. We should have had a shot today.
oh
Uh,
man.
it is Friday afternoon for those. Nobody will know that. But,
Hey, I'm not afraid to have breakfast bourbon. We usually start those shows like 9:30.
yeah, you got it. So, one more serious question before we get to the one-liners, and sort of business kind of question. But one of the questions that I've sort of come up with over the years is I see a lot of firms, and there's one in my annual planning webinar, which is it's coming up in December. You can find one on our YouTube channel on how to write your business plan for the year for a law firm. And I have an example where one firm gets about 5,000 people a month to their website. Another firm gets about 5,000 people a month to their website. Firm A signs 80 clients a month. Firm B signs 20 clients a month. And a lot of it has to do with the way the law firm operates. Like one of them is a well-oiled machine. They get great results. They get back to their clients. They have great Google reviews. A lot of those calls and website visits are referrals. The other firm is in constant discombobulation. Their Google stars is like under 3.5 out of 5. They're, constant turnover, can't answer the phone, all the classic mistakes. So what are some of the strategies that you would recommend to firms? Like, what's the difference between that well-oiled machine of a law firm and the guys who can't get out of their own way?
I mean, you just have to be intentional with it. If you're ready, you can't start spending marketing dollars to take that volume unless your house is in order. Like you have to have systems in place. You have to have intake ready to have customer service to answer those calls. We've leaned into recently building out our pre-litigation department a lot and relying on after hours people overseas that are really good, that are closers to be able to get on the phone with people because sometimes you're in an arms race if you're doing SEO or pay-per-click or LSA, the Google stuff, because people are literally going down the list. It's not like they reached out to you specifically through your brand. Those ones have a much higher conversion.
Of
That's
course.
why I do a lot of this content, putting it everywhere, publishing my book that I wrote, all those other things. That's way more sticky. But if you're in that competitive race, you have to have efficiency on the back end. And then you have to have customer service. I mean, if somebody picks up the phone, this person likes, they trust them, they follow up. Doesn't have to be a lawyer. They can say, I'm going to get the lawyer on the line, set this time. I think that makes a big difference. And you have to have those systems where it saves all the calls that are coming in. Those calls have to be like organized. You should opt and say that you're being recorded so you remember everything that you're doing. And those should automatically go into your case management system, your CRM, wherever you're storing all of that data. So it's there. Because remember, those clients coming in is another marketing opportunity later, even if you don't sign them, even if you refer them. And that's why we built the integrations with all the big case management platforms so that if you don't take that case, it's outside your specialty or too low value, is you can refer it into attorney share. So what we've been seeing a lot of firms do, including us, is we've created these click funnels for practice areas we don't do and in jurisdictions we don't do and are able to send it directly through our CRM, push a button and send it to attorney share and track it. So now we're converting more cases that we're not even taking, but we're still getting a percentage of the fee, where states allow and things like that. And I've seen a lot of sophisticated firms start to do that because it just opens up your net. Like I don't take med mal cases or nursing abuse cases, but we know the best that do. And we're getting a lot of good referral checks from making that connection and helping that lawyer find or that client find their best lawyer.
Just from having your ducks in a row. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're here, the one-liners. So here's the easy part. Just give us quick answers. What are some apps or techniques you use for personal productivity? Obviously, you got a lot going on.
Yeah. So I'm a big Outlook guy. I'm a big TaskRabbit guy. I'm a big Asana guy. Like I like to be tasked up. I like to wake up in the morning and see all the stuff that I need to do. I'm a big planner. So like I have, if you walk into my garage, I literally have a big board that has the next 5 months, and it shows all the big stuff that we're doing within the family, within my companies, within travel, and all those other things, trials that I have coming up. It's all right there. I think, I mean, you could tie everything to your iPhone. My thing is you should be able to run your firm from this, like full stop. Um, I mean, I get a lot of prompts of stuff that I have coming up. Um, like where we use our case management system keeps I get wake up in the morning and has all the tasks that have been assigned to me, and I have our like I even have our media team assigning me tasks and like stuff outside for the biz dev stuff. I'm a big task rabbit guy, you know. That's probably the one that keeps me most grounded and like day-to-day stuff.
What's TaskRabbit is a website where you can get
No,
people to do tasks? No.
no, that's just a phrase that I call it.
Oh,
I'm just a task rabbit. I like people giving me an order of what I need to accomplish that
yeah.
day. Sometimes I'll do it as simple as like, and I take a lot of notes tonight, as I'll just write down on my like notes to myself on WhatsApp that then I will convert it to like calendar reminders for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty simple. I know some people use some other stuff, and
To-do lists or OneNote or whatever, but just
yeah,
organize your stuff. And do you have a VA who's sending those tasks, or that's like the marketing people that you're probably your twin brother who runs the firm?
yeah. Brad that runs the firm. It's like different people. People are shocked that I don't have an EA. I'm interviewing one because I probably should have it, but I'm so like to keep track of all my own stuff. Um, it's probably a good idea. So
Have you read Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time?
no.
It's a great read, and there's a whole chapter on VA, and I just got my full-time VA. I'll give Elizabeth a shout out. So Elizabeth, if you're hearing this, thank you. You've made my life a lot better. But that's a really good read. It seems to be super hot right now too. Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time.
Hmm.
Do you have a personal wellness and fitness routine?
Yeah, so I I have a tonal at my house. I work out at home. I don't go to a gym because I think it's inefficient for time and a lot of other reasons. Um, I do what's called EMS training, electromuscular stimulation training, once a week, where they hook you up
Nice.
to suits and
Yeah,
it works all these other areas of your body. And I've seen that be awesome.
that's cool. I've done
It's
that.
hard. Yeah, it's hard to be in a routine when you got three little kids and schedules and our schedules. I'm as consistent as I take the kids to school every morning if I'm in town. My wife and I pick them up from school at their different times, spend some time with them. So I just have some set times. So that's
Yeah,
my like turn off time, at least for a little
right.
bit, to be able to do
Yeah,
those things. I'm big on preventative health these days. I go to this place called the Boone Heart Clinic in Denver. A lot of other trial lawyers go there to do a lot of preventative heart stuff, stress test, a lot of imaging, a lot of, you know, I do my blood probably every 4 months. Kind of get ahead of the curve, even, completely healthy. I want to make sure that, I'm a healthy 100 for my kids, right? So very big into that stuff. And
right.
also because, I drink almost every single day and I make sure I get my liver panels done and make sure everything's cool.
I do preventative wellness, and I have a bourbon
A
podcast.
balance.
Best business books.
Ooh, I think 0 to 1 is still a really good book. There's one that's called Just One Thing. I think it's called. I could look and see what I have up on my shelf. I like Jack Newton's Client-Centered Law Firm. I got that there. I got You Can't Teach Hungry by John Morgan, one of the first like law books that I
Yeah,
read back in the day. Um, I just find it harder and harder to like find time to read because all this other stuff that's going on. I listen to some podcasts here and there when I'm stuck in traffic.
that's the next one.
Hmm.
Blogs, podcasts, YouTubes. What hits your feed, and then you cancel everything else and listen to that.
So I'm a big fan and friend of Jefferson Fisher. I love all his content. And I've known Jefferson for years before he exploded. He's a great human. I just like the stuff that he says and does, and I implement it. I listen to my friends' podcasts, like Tip the Scales by Bria Monroy is a friend of mine. I like the guests she has on. I like learning about them. I like How I Built This, the one on NPR.
Yeah,
Always been a big fan of how I like to hear how stories from actual humans that build it and their struggles. Um, that's what I that's kind of what I like to listen to. There's this one show podcast called Greeking Out that my kids love that we listen in the car, and they actually very well done. And it's like these old Greek stories that They tell in a funny way, and it keeps my kids engaged and quiet in the car. So I probably listened to like 10 seasons of that.
Well, that's cool. Never heard of that one. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And the last thing, I think we touched on this a little bit, but what's a great introduction for you? Someone sending a case, the spine injuries, anything else?
No, I mean, like I actually like to mentor a lot of firms. A lot of people I get reached out in my DM. I'm very active on socials, especially Instagram. And daily somebody reaches out for like, hey, can we have a 15-minute call? We never met. And I almost always do it. Or people want to start their firm, have me give you some ideas because I think it's special for everybody. Depends on where they are in their journey, what they want to do. I really like doing that stuff, and I really like workshopping like these disc injury cases because I could see a path to win most all of them. And some of them that are not good, I'll tell people these are ones you should not be involved with and why. Yeah, that's it, man. Like, and complicated. I do a lot of really complicated disputed liability cases because I think they're fun.
Cool. And last question, where can people get in touch with you?
At Planet Fun Bob, Instagram. That's the
Fun
easiest
Bob.
way, I
Thanks.
swear.
Perfect. Well, Bob, thank you so much for doing this. This was great.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Have fun at Delray Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast. Please send questions and comments to podcast@10goldenrules.com. That is podcast@TENgoldenrules.com.